to this edition of Wealth Psychology at Sylvia Global Media. We are really excited about today's show. We're going to be exploring how to most empower yourself as you're going and traveling luxury vacations with your family, with your lover, with your partner, whoever it might be, so that you can really maximize your trip and have the best way of interfacing with somebody so that your identity is really solid, so that you come across as somebody who's empowered and not necessarily entitled. And we have an amazing, amazing guest with us. I'm so excited she chose to come and join us. Her name is Holly Steele, and she is the author of the new book, How to Get the Most Out of Your Concierge from A to Z. And she's also a trainer, and she supports people, my gosh, with so many years of experience. I can't wait to hear about her background in terms of how to have the best service professional way of approaching your clientele, your customers, whoever it might be. So Holly, welcome to the show. We're going to find out a little bit about you first and foremost before we dive into your new book.
Okay, great. Thanks, Emily. Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's terrific. So tell us how, you obviously come at a concierge background from a direct experience. Tell us a little bit about your background and why you wrote this book.
Okay, thanks. Well, years ago, I was the concierge at the Grand Hyatt on Union Square in San Francisco. I had moved to San Francisco in the late 70s, and there weren't any jobs for special educators. So there I was in a brand new place, and I wasn't able to use what I went to college for. So I thought, well, what should I do? So I went and got a job in a hotel. And the most fantastic thing happened. I fell madly, passionately in love with it. I just thought it was the most amazing thing. And it was really when concierge were very new in America. There really weren't any concierge in the United States then. I mean, there were a few, but no one knew what one was. And so I got this job at the Grand Hyatt. It was called the Hyatt on Union Square then. And what happened was I was actually working for a tour company, and I was selling tour tickets in the lobby. And so what happened was that I loved it so much that in those days, what we did was we switched it, and it became a concierge. And so this was in like 1976, and I stayed at that job. I loved it so much. Through 1992, when I wrote my first book on how to be a concierge, because I used all my background as a teacher to do that. So that's in a nutshell my background. So then I left in 1992, and I've been out doing training and speaking and writing ever since. And so what I've done is I've taught businesses from everywhere, from NASCAR to the Bank of America to Audi to Disney, how to think and act like a world-class concierge.
Oh, okay. So that's my first question for you. So, here on Wealth Psychology at Sylvia Global, we are all about like breaking things down, understanding what things are, how to best utilize them in our world in the most effective way possible. And so, could you explain a little bit about what a world-class concierge is?
Okay, fabulous. Well, if you think about a concierge and you think about a concierge in a hotel, really what concierges did uh, to change the world. They really changed service in the United States for sure. And it's a very historic uh, situation where people have associated a concierge with the ultimate in serving other people. So people who are creative, people who really think outside the box, people who really have a desire to take care of someone else, to design a memory for someone else, people who really thrive on serving someone else. And so that is kind of like the model for all kinds of businesses to think about service. People who are really good listeners, people who know the right questions to ask, people who know how to triage, people who can do more than one thing at a time. So all of those sorts of things are thinking like a world-class concierge.
So when you say triage, that's often a medical term. So what you mean, like when there's problem solving that needs to happen on the spot when there's a lot of different moving parts?
Well, yes, and if you think of triage, it's really about what do I really need to do first? What's urgent? What can wait? What's absolutely urgent? So when you look at a concierge in a hotel, they're not doing one thing at a time. And they're doing all of these things while they have more things happening and people coming up to them. So they have taken the concept of multitasking to an art form. And so they're on two telephones, they're speaking in several different languages, they're taking care of a variety of things in a lot of different buckets all at the same time. So that's what I mean when I say triage. You have to look and you have to say, okay, well, this person is going to miss their flight if I don't get them the car service right this second. But I can wait to book this tour because I know it's going to be okay, but then I got to do this dinner reservation next, and I have to send a messenger to the theater because that's a sold out show. So those sorts of things.
That's a great example of how the thinking in this show works. So you're coming as the expertise of what's the thinking of the concierge, and I'm coming at it from the standpoint of I'm traveling with my family. I've got 3 kids, and one of them just had a bloody nose, and another one stubbed its toe, and we have to get going to a major event. And so whoever we're thinking of over here in terms of the client is they think that theirs is the most important pertinent thing when they come up to the concierge, and they may not be aware or tracking that the concierge has 18 other families that have just come up to them with all kinds of other requests that they need taken care of.
True. And I just want to say to you that particular aspect of it really isn't the guest's job. I think that the guest has a lot of responsibility in terms of the relationship with the concierge. So yes, if you're an understanding person and you understand that someone else might have something to do that isn't just about you. However, in luxury, when you're paying $500, $700, $800 a night to stay in a hotel, quite frankly, you don't really care if the concierge has a lot of other things to do, nor should you really. I mean, what you want to understand is how are you going to get the best out of that experience in that relationship. Now, if you have a child who just fell and has a bloody nose, okay, you go on the top of the list in the triage, okay? And if you're really a great concierge, you'll have some things in your drawer like stickers or a little red nose or something that you could kind of get them to stop crying and have the Kleenex or the gauze or whatever that you need right there. So that one would take precedence. But if you have 12 people in front of you, and again, it really depends on the size of your hotel, but let's say you're at a convention, and so let's say you ordinarily stay at Four Seasons or Ritz-Carlton's, but you're at a convention and you find yourself in another type of a convention hotel. So then those lines are usually fairly long. And so you want to understand, not that they have other things to do, yes, they do, but when is the best time for me to show up to ask those questions? Because if I'm coming at 6 o'clock at night, you can be sure that there's going to be a long line.
Oh
so
my
maybe
gosh.
I can stop at another time in the day or call them at a different time in the day so it's not early morning or right around the dinner rush. So you just have to be a little smart about that.
Let's take a station identification. We're going to jump into this next topic of how do you make the best use of a concierge? That was a great tip right there. Be aware of the best timing. We're going to get some more tips from your new book. So thanks so much, Holly Steele, for being with us at Wealth Psychology at Sylvia Global Media. I'm Emily Bouchard, the managing partner of Wealth Legacy Group.